Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are here for a very special RHONDOS webinar this week. Of course, we're going to talk about observing and securing SAP for Splunk. So just a quick agenda. We will review who RHONDOS is, kind of what we do for those of you who may not be familiar. And then I'm very delighted today. We have a customer success story from one of our best customers. For those of you that know, PowerConnect is a technology that takes data from SAP and puts it into Splunk. And today we're honored to have a guest from Splunk themselves who run SAP and one of the engineers that work there. And he's going to go over some of the success and use cases that we've helped them with. We'll leave some time for Q&A. And then I'll talk about how we actually help implement these services over at Splunk with our RHONDOS On Demand service, as well as provide you some information about some of the other upcoming events that we have coming up, webinars and conferences and whatnot. So again, for those of you that don't know, us at RHONDOS, we are the preferred North American distributor for PowerConnect for SAP. Again, our technology helps uncover the black box of SAP by taking SAP data, timestamping it, and putting it into a big data platform such as Splunk. We offer first-line 24/7 support. We offer certified implementation services from our consultants who are both cross-trained in Splunk and SAP. And we have SAP monitoring expertise, myself included. My background is SAP. I spent 20 years as a basis administrator and currently own 5 Splunk accreditations and certifications. Over on the right, you can see our NASCAR slide, some of the large customers that entrust us to help them develop use cases and support their systems that run the largest systems in the world. Some of these customers, these are actual numbers that have been quoted by them. We have reduced monitoring costs by up to 50%. Expedited compliance audits, which is easy to do because you're taking all this data out of SAP and putting it into a format which can easily be reported on. We've enhanced customers' SAP security posture, knowing that Splunk is the leading SIM product in the market, taking that data from SAP, putting it into that SIM system, being able to report on those. It's no wonder that we're able to enhance customers' SAP posture. And then, the big ones are reducing MTTR and mean time to detect issues by up to 70%. Being alerted about a potential issue in your system before it happens. It's no wonder that we're able to help customers reduce their P1 and P2 tickets. So as I mentioned, we are very honored today to have Girish Nalapalli from Splunk, and he's going to go over with you how we have helped empower them at Splunk. Girish?
Thank you, Ben. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Girish Nalapalli. I'm part of Splunk finance team, it's finance systems team, which is an IT for a CFO organization. And firstly, let me thank our partner RHONDOS for having me here to share our story about how we are using PowerConnect in Splunk, within Splunk, and our primary landscape is on SAP. And just to quickly give you a background on our journey with SAP, we started our SAP implementation back in 2020, and we went live in 2021 February. And the first 1.5 years after go live is mostly we had a lot of enhancements and hypercare bugs and whatnot, where the lot of monitoring was manual through our basis on infra team. And if you look at this slide, how we improved our maturity on the SAP monitoring, especially with the PowerConnect. And initially, when we went live, we had a Solman and where the basic monitoring was there. And then we had a basis team onboarded and managed a lot of monitoring in manual, and we used focused run on that. And then when we implemented SAP, that's where the RHONDOS came into the picture and helped us in implementing PowerConnect for us. And that actually helped a lot, streamlining a lot of technical monitoring and audibility and visibility of a lot of use cases that helps to improve our operational procedures and also a response time for any issues is really been very helpful, which I may share some of the use cases that are in the following slides. But if you look at overall, our journey was, I think, is quite tremendous, and it really helped us to streamline a lot of technical monitoring and audit related things without any human manual efforts involved there. And then we are at the stage 4 as of today, which is Splunk Service Intelligence for SAP. As you know, this is one of the products from SAP, from Splunk, which has a lot of out-of-the-box dashboards on top of existing ones we have in stage 3. And then it has a lot of predictability of any issues that comes across business services. This is one part of our journey as part of our SAP PowerConnect. Again, assuming you can assume that I'm kind of an internal customer to Splunk products. I'm part of finance organization who primarily manages SAP and Ariba and other integrated applications. And we are like a customer to our own Splunk products, and we use our Splunk for improve our own operational procedures and monitoring activities. Next slide, Ben. So these are the challenges we had in managing SAP as soon as we went live. So it's all of manual monitoring. And there was a lot of, we had some hypercare issues and a lot of enhancements, a lot of new changes has been going into production after that. And we had some environment related issues, and there was no clear monitoring or automated alerts procedure, and manual checks are always, as we know, everybody tries to move to automation to make sure those are not error prone. And we had a similar challenges, and because of the complex systems, and we had a lot of rise ups as well, and we want to clearly monitor how the integrations are working, what happens when the integration fails and whatnot. So despite of having a lot of enhancements going into the product, and the amount of work for basis and infrastructure team keeps increasing to manually monitor the system. And that's kind of one challenge we had at the early stages of implementation of SAP. And then eventually, there are no clear insights that we can showcase it to the team about. Um, Especially, we usually do a disaster recovery testing once in a year or twice in a year, depends on the schedule. So what happens, we never had any baseline analysis how the system was performing, where did we capture the metrics before the upgrade or after the upgrade, and any patches we do at the OS level or security patching, we never had any baseline data to capture. So we never had a clear mechanism to do this analysis. That was another challenge to showcase the scenarios to the team and understand understand the pitfalls there, and see if we want to scale the infrastructure or do the system improvements. Anything we want to do, we never had any baseline analysis to capture that. So that was another business challenge we had while managing SAP. And then, as you know, the SAP team, especially any ERP team, is very depends on the company. It has diverse functions, like a functional team manages its functional, technical, GRC, basis, and whatnot, and the cross-functional teams. So there is no unified KPIs monitoring for each of the individual areas of their functional or technical activities. It was very silo managed. So the PowerConnect has bring in that unified dashboard mechanism for all the SAP monitoring, and that's kind of a single monitor for all the users within the organization for SAP related stuff. So these are the kind of a top 3 buckets of our business challenges we had. And with that, I think at the right time we had our PowerConnect in place, where our partner RHONDOS helped us in implementing it, and then we have been using that very effectively from at least like since early 2022. And eventually what happened is now we build a lot of use cases on top of the existing platform we have, and we do our release cycles on a regular basis for whole SAP. So at the in similar to that, we find some use cases for PowerConnect as well on a regular releases backlog grooming or whatnot, and then eventually deploy them into production to help ease the team for their operational cadence. And this is one classic example that really helped a lot to the entire team for us, and without even having a kind of a human presence to monitor any activity, right? So as Ben mentioned, PowerConnect is always kind of pulls the data from SAP and send it to Splunk. And within Splunk, we set up Slack alerts and email alerts for every scenario that is required for an operational level, be it a technical monitoring, be it a functional, some of the functional rise-ups related one, and also some related to security and audit related. Some of the examples, so as a best practice, what we did is we have n+1 and n+2 landscapes. So every landscape is important to make sure that all the releases will go on time without any issues and into deployment without any impact. So what we did is we centralized our alerting mechanism to a common group in the email, which is kind of, I would call it as a support group. Similarly, in the Slack channel, we created two separate Slack channels, one for non-production environments, like a test environments, one is for production. So the alertings that you get from Splunk is also not distributed across different teams. It is basically centralized into one channel, and that's a single source of truth for anybody to get alerted when there is an issue that happens, and the required L1 support team or the respective resource will act upon the depends on the alert and track that to closure. So this is one of the kind of a best use case that is really helping us utilizing both Splunk and PowerConnect as a product for SAP monitoring here internal to us is really reducing a lot of operational costs, and in fact to be very even candid with the group here, we still don't have an in-house basis and infrastructure team. It's been run through our consulting partner. So while it's being run through them, this visibility of monitoring without basis and infrastructure team is not in the team. Still, that is this dashboarding and data that comes to Splunk is really helping us a lot without the basis team to see what's going on in the system. So some of the examples I can give, maybe Ben, if you can go to next slide. So I think we have plenty of use cases. We set it up for Slack and email alerts. To name some of them is ABAP short dump. So I think we have one of the scenario where if we have more than 8 dumps in production for the last 3 hours or so, trigger an alert, right? And the respective technical lead will act upon and then understand what's going on and then follow up with the respective, or that could be user related training, why that might be creating a user dumps or whatnot. So that's one. And there could be this is one of the critical batch of failure. This is one of our ITGC control we have in our audit. So whenever there is a job failure of a critical job that we mapped into Splunk system, obviously there has to be a proper root cause analysis that needs to be done about what happened. There has to be a ticketing procedure. A ServiceNow ticket gets created for that critical job failure, and the team has to analyze that and then get back with the resolution to make sure that it doesn't happen next time. And then RFC connection, since our landscape is pretty huge, which I'm not showing it here, which is more of sensitive data to us. So we had RFC connections are also pretty important for us, and that's monitoring is also very being useful. On top of these three, we had many use cases outside of these three is like client open, right? Typically client open is a very sensitive activities, which is audit team wants to know what happened during that time. So what we had the use case, whenever the client gets open, an alert goes to the Slack channel where the audit team is also there. So they can easily go and get back to the team and to understand why this client is open, what is the justification we had, where are the approvals for all the stuff, right? So it's basically a proactive measure of taking care of all these things before audit teams point out the issues. And similarly, certificates expiry. So we have a lot of certificates that we need to keep renew them. So we have an alert in the system for every certificate that may expire in the next 30 days or 60 days. We keep getting an alert from the system. You know what, this certificate is expiring in so and so dates. Please go and renew that. So that alert keeps coming to you, and once it is renewed, then alerting is going to stop. So similarly, we have a lot of dashboards as well. If you can, I mean, this is kind of an alerts that we have. We have alerts for critical job, long running jobs, and a lot of SLG1 logs monitoring, and any SAP. There is an alert for if any user gets an SAP all assigned, then an alert gets triggered. It's a SOX complaint issue. So I think we had many, I think at least 20 to 30 alerts that we have. Each and every alert goes to Slack and email both, just to make sure we are covering both the audience who is active on email, who is active on Slack, so that we are not missing that any particular issue that happens. Next slide, Ben. So this is one of the Slack notification, how it looks like. So this is an ABAP short dumps. It's a Slack notification. It tags to the people of the respective people in the team who is responsible to take a look into this. So, and then we use this Slack threading mechanism to track this to closure. Similarly, if you look at the email fail jobs, so we have an alert that triggers failed jobs information, and a notification is kind of an email notification that goes there, and respective teams will take an action upon it and track it. And these are some of the standard dashboards that we use for our monitoring to look at. Anytime folks may come and ask, like lot of times I keep, since I manage security as well, I get a message from our leadership, how many active users are there in SAP, how many being actively used SAP from the last so and so days and whatnot. So what happens is this kind of information helps to understand the license usage, and as well, it's typically not directly related to the license usage, but at least if there are active users in the system who is not using an SAP, who didn't log in for a while, and that's an additional burden for us to be incorporated as part of a user access review. So we identify these kind of outliers, and we come up with some system improvements, like in this case, how this data helps us, right? So this data helped us to find out how many inactive users are there, and then when I say inactive means how long they're not been using SAP, and then we went and implemented a system improvement saying that when we keep sending reminders from the system if they don't log in, and after certain point of time we log the account and then we deactivate their profile. It helps reducing the maintenance overhead on security team and eventually improves the efficiency of the user access review. Next slide, Ben. And this is SAP security, typically sensitive profiles. So I think we have some of the sensitive roles and sensitive profiles we have. Typically, as I mentioned earlier, we try to keep monitoring this dashboard, or on top of monitoring it, if there is something happens, adding an SAP all new to a certain user, or could be a firefighter, or could be a regular dialog user, or could be another system user or whatnot, it triggers an alert to the respective Slack channel to make sure to understand the background and mitigate it if it is not really required. Next one, Ben. And this is one of the basis daily checklists that they use. I think this was one of the improvement we had from a basis, a manual monitoring to automated monitoring. Earlier, they used to go and do run a lot of transactions within SAP to get this data. But now with the PowerConnect and Splunk in place, all they do is they have a scheduled time frame in a day, maybe a couple of hours in the morning, a couple of times in the morning, couple of times in the evening, look at these dashboards and understand the trend of the checklist, what they are maintaining, and report if there are any issues. And we take that issues as kind of a backlog to see if we want to do any system improvements or not. So I think overall, how this is working for internal to Splunk is, one is for operational cadence, how to improve the response times for any issue that happens without interrupting the business services. And secondly, it really helps us to analyze how our current system is performing, and then see what are the issues we have, and take it up as kind of an analysis to understand is these issues can be fixed through a system improvements or whatnot, or there could be some scenarios where we cannot do anything with the system. Probably we may need to do scale up the infrastructure as well. So I think overall these are the two primary and benefits that we have been seeing from using this PowerConnect for SAP. And then just to add to it, right, this is one piece of what we use as SAP for monitoring. There could be other Splunk products we use internal to us, so which is like SAP, like a Splunk observability or whatnot, which where it is not part of here. I think collectively what I'm trying to say is the Splunk product that we use as Splunk observability or PowerConnect for SAP. I think the end goal is all the data is within Splunk platform, which is helping us to have a seamless tracking and monitoring for the applications that we manage within our finance systems team.
Girish, I love the fact that you have the SM51 work process utilization dashboard on here. When I do demos, that's one of my favorite dashboards to talk about because it gives you visibility into SAP that you just cannot get with standard SAP monitoring tools. Those work process transactions inside of SAP are very static, and there's no way to go back and see a history without, trudging through STAD logs, which nobody wants to do. And so being able to see if, a work process, you ran out of like dialogue work processes in the middle of the night is fantastic. Being able to get that historical view.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Right. Yeah. I think that's it from my end. I think I would like to say I think RHONDOS was very great in doing it, and we have constant partnership with RHONDOS to share our use cases with them, do a brainstorming with their technical folks to understand how to implement in a right way, and then we utilize a lot of out of the box dashboards and consolidate into a way that helps Splunk team, which makes our life easier when it comes to monitoring. So I think I would like to say thank you to RHONDOS team for having me here and share our story, and say open to any questions if anybody has on the forum.
Yeah, thank you so much for Girish. We really appreciate you coming and speaking on Splunk's behalf today. Mr. Yetter, did we have any questions pop into chat while we were speaking?
No, Ben, I don't think we have any questions coming in yet. So I think we are going to launch a quick poll to the audience.
Fantastic. While y'all are reviewing the poll, I would just like to take a minute to make sure that I explain everybody our RHONDOS On Demand service, which is actually the service that Girish and the rest of the Splunk team used for us to develop those custom use cases for him. I really believe it's an innovative way to deliver services for customers. I've been in the consulting world for 18 years now, and most consulting engagements usually consist of consultants coming on site, or maybe they're doing it remote now, but they deliver the services. They might do a 10 or 15, a little bit of a handoff, give you some training, and then they're gone. And with RHONDOS On Demand, it's a set block of hours that you can use at your disposal every month for basically anything that you want, whether it's up-leveling your admins. We have all top-of-the-line consultants on staff. I got asked earlier this week about the level of consultant that would be assigned to their account. We have no B team at RHONDOS. All of our guys are top-notch. So we can help train you on how to use the tool, create dashboards, teach you SPL, whatever it may be. So we can help facilitate the adoption. A lot of customers, they'll start with PowerConnect with the out-of-the-box dashboards, but soon discover that those aren't enough for them. And so we can help find useful ways for you to utilize the product to make sure that you're getting the most money for it. So we can help develop those custom use cases like we did for the Splunk folks. And then again, that flexible delivery model. So you're not crammed into, implementing the product and deciding on all the use cases that you want out of the box or right up front. You can do it over time. And we can do those at a time that fits you guys. We know that especially SAP teams are very busy. And so, they might not have a dedicated block of time where they can, assist or work with us in developing custom use cases for you. And so that flexible delivery model really lets you spread those hours and that use case development over a period of time. As I mentioned, we have all tier 1 support. So, if there's any custom improvements that you want, we can help you with those as well. At the beginning, I did promise to let you know where you can find us on other upcoming events. We actually have another customer success webinar coming up on February 15th, where a manufacturing and distribution customer will also talk about how RHONDOS On Demand helped them get to that next level. Those of you who might be going to SAP Insider, we will be in Las Vegas, March 18th to 21st. And then there are a bunch of ASUG regional events, which we will be attending. Please come see us. We would love to talk to you about how we can take your SAP monitoring and observability to the next level. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Ben, there is a question in the...
Yep, we just had one question come in, and the question is, what is the total FTE effort reduction resulting from the implementation of this solution?
That is a really good question.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've ever calculated. Go ahead. I don't know if
Yeah.
we've ever calculated an FTE reduction. I can tell you that having done Basis for 18 years, looking at these dashboards, looking at, being able to go back and get historical data, take things like STAD data and put it into a dashboard format where you can very quickly solve issues. It's huge. I think about, the SEV1 scenario where there's a SEV1 bridge and you have, infrastructure people on the phone, you have networking people on the phone, and then your basis administrators on the phone. These are not low-paying jobs, right? So you have a lot of high-paid people that are stuck on a call until a problem is fixed. And traditionally, each one of these teams is looking at their own set of logs to try and diagnose the problem. And so you'll have a network guy say, well, I don't see anything wrong on my side, while the SAP thing is saying, well, we see latency to this connection. And so, you have disparate logging systems that are trying to, users have to correlate on their own. And that's really where the power of Splunking this SAP data is, as well as your infrastructure data. Because now you have a single pane of glass where you can very, very quickly identify, root cause analysis and get those expensive people back to work. They're not having to stay up all night on the phone so that, the next day is basically a waste as well. So I don't know that we've calculated a full FTE estimate for what this will save you, but to say that our customers have saved money using this product is an understatement. And, having well-rested employees from not being up all night on SEV1s, I think is pretty priceless.
Just add a thought from my end, Ben, is we don't have a full-time employee at US for Basis, but these dashboards, this data helps us to debug the issue quickly to understand what's going on, and eventually we are expanding Splunk and offshore to build a full in-house team. So this is one of our analysis which brought in a lot of operational cost reduction, and that helps. This is really helping us to find out what could be our full-time capacity when we are building an in-house team, right? So as Ben said, more than looking at the number, I think this really, if you look at the hours we spent on doing these kind of things manually, it is really saves a lot.
Yeah, people can spend more time doing projects rather than, digging in the system on a regular basis. So thank you very much, all. Appreciate it.